Ah, yes, it has been a while, but it's that time of year, and we're back. Ladies and gentlemen of the Delaware High School basketball community, welcome to the 2024-25 official season premiere of Holding Court here on the First Day Hoops Report YouTube channel. I know you guys probably have not seen me around in a month of Sundays, as the old saying goes, but if you're not familiar, my name is Chris Stevens. I'm the founding editor of First Day Hoops Report. I'm actually the only employee of First Day Hoops Report at the moment, and also the host of this here particular podcast, where I talk about high school basketball and college basketball in the state of Delaware, Delaware athletes playing college basketball. You know the drill. So, if you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and tap that notification bell to be notified of everything that drops on the channel, because this week we have games. So there will be highlights and interviews with players and coaches going up as soon as Wednesday night, because that's when the season starts. And we'll be at a couple of different games throughout the week, and then we'll just start, covering games. We'll keep covering games as it goes, all the way up until the state tournament, and hopefully through to the state championship game. That is our hope and prayer. If you are not new, I invite you to. I already invited you to subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, thank you. But if you're not new, be sure to like and comment on these videos so we can get a discussion going. I talk back in the comments too. So, you say something, you have something, you got a question or you got a thought, and I respond. That's how it works. And so hope you guys have all been well. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. I had a great Thanksgiving. I was charged with the task of bringing a dessert. When you don't understand, being someone who just goes from eating the food to actually preparing some food, it's a challenge, but it's also a compliment, because my aunt was hosting and she said, "You better bring those pound cakes to my dinner." And I said, "Okay." So I did. I made one cream cheese pound cake and one regular pound cake, and apparently they all have every slice of each has vanished already. People have been just stopped, eating them. I didn't even get a piece. That's the crazy part. But I live here. I live in my own apartment, so I can make my own. But yeah, so hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. I was thrilled that my pound cakes went over well, and now that I'm ready for basketball season, I'm back with you guys. If you wonder where I've been, you guys are not familiar. I work for HBCUsports.com now, which means I've been covering Black college football since August. And we'll probably get into basketball season as well. So I imagine Stan Waterman and a Jazz Turner will probably see me at some point during the winter. Not for this, and for HBCU Sports as well. Also, I've been developing my own YouTube channel, which is off the beaten path, which isn't First Day Hoops Report related, but it's me talking about all the other stuff that I enjoy, which is music, television, culture, random thoughts. I'll give you guys the link to that in the description below, because I really don't go too off the rails over there. So if you're interested in my thoughts on things other than basketball, you can check me out there. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the matter, I announced why this episode was going up on Sunday, but I've got to make you guys wait a little bit, because there are some things I want to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is a change to the point system. It hasn't officially been voted on yet by the basketball committee yet, but you can expect it to pass. The new state tournament point index. In April, the DIA committee voted to extend the reward for winning a game from 2 points to 3. So it doesn't change much, but it changes enough. Now that means that a win is worth 3 points now, and it used to be worth 2. And the bonus points hasn't changed. 501. If your opponent has a 501 or better winning percentage, is 1 point, 1 bonus point. If your opponent has a 701 or a better winning percentage, that's 2 bonus points. The problem I have with this diluted point index is that it is going to cause a lot of mass confusion coming down the stretch when it comes to who's in, who's out, who's going to get a bye, who's going to get a home game, because it cuts down on the incentive to schedule strong. And there are going to be some schools that just don't care about that. Like I can tell you right now, Sal's schedule, strong as ever. Ursuline's schedule, strong as ever. Sanford, same for them. Same for St. E's boys and girls. Howard boys as well. Middletown boys, they got a couple of great teams coming in for their toy drive this coming weekend. You guys should go check them out. If you got a couple extra bucks, buy some toys. Go help out my guy, Coach Aziz Ali, fellow Howard Wildcat. Go, kick them some toys and make sure some deserving kids have a great holiday season. But other than that, there's going to be a lot of teams that stockpile wins, and they're not going to be wins of quality note. Like there's going to be a team that is 17-3 on paper, but if they played a decent schedule, they'd probably be closer to 11-9 or 10-10. And that's going to, you know, make a lot of people upset. Like I can tell you now, there's going to be a scenario where a team that's 17-3 but has not played a team with a winning record in their conference is going to get in over a team that's like 13-7 or 14-6 who has played a tough conference schedule, and they're going to raise absolute cane. And I can't wait to see how the IA handles that, because we've got to be realistic about how basketball has changed in the state of Delaware before I get, onto the, real deal in this podcast. The gap is closing somewhat, but at the same time, it's widening as well. Because you still have kids. I mean, granted, the transfer rule, which I find to be, putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, to be quite honest with you. It's gonna cut down on a lot of the movement, but there's still gonna be kids that move. Absolutely. And there'll be more on that in a minute, when people start, complaining about how the privates are able to do this, that, and the other. And there's a reason that the privates are able to do this, that, and the other. But I don't see this being a good thing, this new point index being a good thing. Because there are just going to be teams that are going to say, oh, we can schedule, this charter who hasn't had a winning record ever. We can schedule this private school who's on the downside. We can even go out of state. We can go over to Cecil County because we know Cecil County's struggling. We can go to Chester County, get some schools from up there. South Jersey. It's all 3 points, right? Not all 3-point wins are the same. Just like all 2-point wins weren't the same. And so are the losses either, because when you look into the bonus points part of it, the bonus points part, again, is not going to change. It's still going to be 1 point for a 501 squad, 2 for a 701 squad. And there are some teams that are just going to probably look at their schedule and say, yo, we did the best we could and we still got robbed. And so that's something that DIA and the basketball committee is going to have to reckon with. Like, I would be stunned if they don't reevaluate this in the spring. I mean, it's going to go through for this school year, for this season, but it's going to be too much mass confusion, because there's going to be teams that are like 17, like I said, 17-3, 16-4, maybe even an 18-2, and they're going to say, hey, well, we won all of our games. We got our points. We made the state tournament, but y'all ain't play nobody. Y'all didn't play anybody, and that's part of the problem. And, there's going to be teams that did play a tough schedule that are either going to be like out of the bye chase or not even get a home game. Just like, okay, so now we have to play 4 or 5 games on the road, 3 or 4 games on the road just to get to the Bob, because someone else had a cupcake schedule and won 18 games. If you are not ready for, I'm just going to throw out a scenario. If you are not ready for a Sal's or a Sanford or even a Howard or even a Penn to go to a school that's like a charter or Henlopen North or Henlopen South that has not, or another independent that just has not played the same level of competition, and watch these other teams come in on the road and just absolutely, crush the buildings, that's what's going to happen. And you're going to have a lot of angry people like, oh, we were the team. We won 18 games. But again, you didn't play anybody. Fair is fair. And being honest is being honest. And keeping it a buck is keeping it a buck. And I'm going to always keep it 8 more than 92 on here. Some teams schedule very, very light. And now they run the risk of being rewarded for it up to a point. Because there's going to come a time when one of these teams that's like, hey, we got top 4 seed, boy, we good to go. And then here comes Sal's, here comes Penn, here comes Howard, here comes Smyrna, here comes Tower Hill, and then they just, y'all on your home floor, with the stuck face, like, yeah, not a good look, not a good look. And we still don't have a shot clock, and we're not going to have a shot clock for the next 2 years at least, because they're still workshopping it or whatever. I mean, if we're going to, split hairs about funding, then you guys down there in Dover, I'm not talking about Dover High. I think one of the assistant coaches, whenever I say people down in Dover, he thinks I'm talking about Dover High. No, I'm talking about the state legislature and all of those folks. Y'all need to knock on them folks' door and say, okay, all right, we are one of like a handful of states left that does not have a shot clock for boys and girls high school basketball. We want to prepare these kids for the next level. We can't do that if we have teams just that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So you guys need to go to them folks' door in Dover, knock, and say, okay, you guys need to come up with something. We need a sports fund for high school sports and recreational sports, so we can get the resources that we need to prepare these kids for the next level. Because I have never heard of a football game without a play clock. I have never heard of a soccer match without a scoreboard. I've never heard of a volleyball match without a net. I've never heard of a swim meet without a clock. I've never heard of a wrestling match without a clock. I mean, why does basketball always get the short end of the stick? I've told you guys why I feel like basketball gets the short end of the stick before, but I'm just telling you guys again, like, people don't respect basketball in Delaware. That's why we have kids leaving. That's why we have kids who are transferring to better scenarios and thus leaving, a lot of the other schools high and dry when it comes to putting together a basketball team. So there's still a lot that needs to be addressed when it comes to the red tape and the politics and the bureaucratic stuff and the powers that be when it comes to DIA and basketball here in Delaware. And I'll never stop banging that drum, because I've been watching this game too long for it to continually be disrespected the way it is by the folks in charge. That's just my take on it. But yes, I did want to talk a little bit about NIL. NIL was approved, so now kids can, make a little extra money. I mean, I find it funny that people are so aghast about NIL, but when we were in school, I mean, there were a lot of athletes who had after-school jobs. I mean, I'm a Howard graduate, so we had co-op senior year. We did. So, I mean, you literally could, go to school half the day, because if you had gotten all your stuff taken care of, if you're taking care of your electives, like, your foreign language and your math and your English and, gym, then you could go to school from 7 to 11 or 12, then go work the rest of the day and then come back for practice. That's what a lot of people did. That's what we did my senior year when I was on the football team for like 15 minutes. So there's no precedent that says kids can't make money. Now it's just a little more direct. And people are like, oh, wow. So now the private schools are just going to, siphon all the kids and lure them in with money. Not everybody can be bought. It's not like, this isn't like Ted DiBiase. Not everybody does not have a price. I mean, they're going to be, and I think what we're missing is there are only a select few kids that can, get a bag like that. And the one I'm thinking of right now is like Gigi. Like, Gigi is a walking money machine. She's the people's champ. And she's also, very, very popular. I mean, she was, she's been on the Overtime Women's Basketball podcast. I mean, people around the country know Gigi now. I mean, Dawn Staley knows who Gigi Banks is. So that's the one athlete I can think of off the rip that can, literally make some money off of NIL. The rest, have to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to be anything that is that much of a game changer right away. Now, that's not to say it can't change, because I mean, there's going to come a time when there are more kids like Gigi who have the personality, who have the skill and the marketability to make some money. But right now, I just don't see that many kids on her level being able to do that. So there's no reason for people to panic right now. It's not going to affect anything this year. It might not even affect anything next year or 2027, for crying out loud. So, but it's just nice, that the kids can at least get something. And it's not like, I doubt very seriously anybody's going to be offering kids cars and, buying their parents' houses for them to play high school basketball. I just don't see that happening. So there's no need to panic. There's no need to freak. There's just relax. Let's relax on NIL for a bit before we start, I mean, yeah, it's a different time now, but it's not anything alarming as of yet. But, have it on standby just in case, because things always change. And I will be glad to adapt to that. But I just don't see NIL becoming that big of an issue immediately. That's just me. If you feel differently, let me know in the comments. And now for the moment you all have been waiting for. That was a terrible drum roll. I'm sorry. That was a terrible drum roll. I apologize. The reason you all are here, aside from that terrible drum roll, is the First Day Hoops Report 2024-25 preseason leading into the season. Boys and girls basketball top 10s. All right, let's get into it. Start with these girls top 10s. Seaford, they're coming in at number 10. I like them to win the Henlopen South. They got Amira Tingle and Kamira Cornish-Bain, a couple 1,000-point scores. And when you have two girls that talented, it's hard to get them both on an off night. And I just don't see anything across the Henlopen South. I could be wrong because Lake Forest wasn't terrible last year. Of course, ECHS was pretty good last year up to a point. Woodbridge lost a lot. I mean, they lost Reagan Robinson, who was putting up 50 burgers last year. When you lose a player that's averaging like 25, 26 points a game, Tiana Neal was actually pretty big for them as well. So you lose those two players. I don't think Woodbridge is going to be at the top of the list right now for the Henlopen South. I like Seaford in that regard. So Seaford at number 10. Number 9, Delaware Military Academy. Maya Hill and Tavi Prado lead that bunch. They've made the last two Elite Eights. So this is a team that just has the talent, has the skill. They have the coaching. It's just a matter of can they get over the hump. They still got a lot of good teams in front of them. One in their own conference in the Dynasty, who we'll talk about in a minute. You can see it on the screen. Number 8, Smyrna. That's my favorite to win the Henlopen North. Kai Burnett, she's closing in on 1,000 points. And Maya Ellerby, that is one tough backcourt they had there. They got to replace a couple of bigs. Talani Pierce and Skylar Curley have graduated, so they got to find somewhere to get some rebound because those two girls average together. No, not this ain't no cap. They average 30 rebounds a game together. Like, I think Skylar averaged 16 and Talani averaged 14 a game. You lose 30 rebounds a game between two girls. That's a huge gap to make up. So we'll see what Smyrna does, but I like them to win in Henlopen North. Number 7, Howard Wildcats. Howard was a heartbeat away from their first ever Final Four. They lost a couple of key kids to graduate. Back returns a lot of girls, and this is a young team too. I think they have maybe 2 seniors, so the best may be yet to come for Howard girls basketball. Number 6, Lucky Price's AI DuPont Tigers, who of course beat Howard in one of the most, probably the best. No, not probably. It was the best quarterfinal last year, and made it to the Final Four for the first time in over a decade. Lucky lost a lot too. Nice Jackson graduated. Sid Hilliard graduated. Jordan Henderson graduated. So, but they still return a lot over there as well. Amani Bryce is going to be the point guard that, makes that thing go. So as Amani goes, so go the Tigers. Got them at number 6. Number 5, St. Elizabeth, Ty Taylor's Vikings. They had a period of adjustment last year because, of course, Ty is a well-known and respected trainer. And, coaching and training are probably 2 different things, even though they're not really. I know people that actually do that stuff or know a little better than I do. But St. E's got a good squad. They got Skylar Bolden coming in from St. Elizabeth. They got Zamila Zeta Owens coming back. That's a really good team. I feel like they're absolutely the favorite to win the Dynasty. Make no mistake about it. So I got them at number 5. Number 4, Pat. Abby Grillo, who was a walking bucket last year, comes back for her senior year. Abby Hayes, the point guard, she comes back for her senior year. And they got Sophia Buffon from St. Mark's. So that's a lethal big 3 right there. And when you have a player, when you have a coach like Denise Igo-Sackett, who starred at Padua, who knows that program inside and out and had a coach of the year last year, to be quite honest with you. She probably should have got way more votes for that award than she did. So this Padua team is going to be a tough out. They got caught slipping by Howard last year. I don't know if they get caught slipping by anybody this year leading into the Final Four. So I like Padua. Number 3, Sanford. People are probably like, Chris, why you got Sanford so high? They're a young team. But all those young girls played last year. And they still have Jada Snow. Jada Snow has been incrementally progressing as one of the top talents in the state. She's got the scholarship from Seton Hall to prove it. So I still think that Sanford team, I mean, there's no question that they're going to win the independent conference, but it's really going to be a matter of how they fare in non-conference play, because Marcus Thompson always, to his credit, schedules his girls tough no matter what it is. They've got She Got Game down in the DMV start the season. They also are going to be down the shore at the Governor's Challenge. And then, of course, they have their games against Caravel, Ursuline, so on and so forth. So that'll be an interesting Sanford team to watch with all that young talent, and Jada Snow being the leader. Number 2, last year's runner-up by a single point, Caravel Academy Buccaneers. Now, Caravel, they lost a little bit of everything. Josiah Crawford and Nia Price have graduated, so that cuts the backcourt in half. But the good news is you still have Speedy Wilson, who of course is going to Niagara, and Cherish Bryant, who's going to Bentley. And then I think the key for Caravel this year is, can they maximize that post presence that they started to build on towards the end of last year? Because of course they had Jordan Tate, who transferred from Ursuline, and they had Bryson Strickling, who was hurt for most of the summer, but she's back healthy. They have a nice little inside-out combination between them, because Bryson can knock down the jumper. She can handle the ball. Jordan can rebound, and it's going to be hard for anybody to stop her in the paint. So I still feel like the Caravel team is the second best team in the state. And, of course, number 1, until you're the champs until somebody else beats you. And the champions are the Ursuline Raiders. Of course, they have the top 10 sophomore in the country in Gigi Banks. They, of course, Taylor Brown has moved on to a Long Island Lutheran, and we wish her the best. It was so much fun watching her and Gigi just pick people's pockets at will last year. But it's Gigi Banks' team now. And so with that means that she's going to have a lot more opportunities to shine. But this is not a team that does not have talent. Emma Anthony is back. We all agreed, sitting courtside at the Bob last year, that there's no way Emma Anthony is going to have a shooting performance as beneath her as she did in the Final Four last year. Like, I just don't see that happening again. Now that she's committed to her lacrosse, her D1, she's got a D1 scholarship for lacrosse. Congratulations to Emma for that. So I think that's probably a weight off of her shoulders. So she's going to come in ready to fire. They got Anaya Murphy, who's a really good tall guard, 6'1" guard. So when you put a shooting guard, a combo guard, that's like a swing, like a wing in the backcourt with Gigi, then you just that's a license to print money. So I like, they also got Catherine Lang coming back as well. So yeah, this is an Ursuline team. Until somebody beats them, they're the champs. And Coach Noonan does a wonderful job, not only letting them play, but just devising strategies that allow them to be in the best positions. Like that play at the end of the championship game last year, which was kind of like, if you're of a certain age, you might remember the Tennessee Titans when they beat the Buffalo Bills in that playoff game with the home run throwback from the late Frank Wycheck to Kevin Dyson. That's kind of how it looked. You had an inbounds pass, you had a lateral, and then you had Gigi going to the rim, and she made the free throw and won the championship. So Coach Noonan is a tactician as well as a person who can manage talent as well. So I like Ursuline. Ursuline is my preseason favorite to win the whole thing again. All right, on to the boys' top 10. I didn't mean to be that loud. I'm sorry. And no, that's not a misprint. I have Seaford as number 10 as well. The Matthews brothers, the younger ones, return. So they should be that. I mean, they were the favorite in the Hill Open South last year. I mean, they were 18-1, 18-2 going, in the regular season. So you get those kids back, and, along with the kids you already have, that's a real tough team. Penn, they you can't underestimate what Gary Lumpkin does with that team. Him and Tail Davis and Olin Knotts do year in, year out with that squad. I mean, they got some young talent on this team. Kendall Riley Garlic, Birdie, he's going to be on the squad this year. Andy Webb is going to be filling that Emmanuel Vonham role. Very much excited to see him. I mean, Andy's 6. I mean, we always genuinely. What's the word I'm looking for here? Generously, yes, we generously listed Emmanuel at 6'3", but that kid was like 6'1" tops. But he played his heart out every night. Andy Webb is a legit 6'4", 6'5". So now you have a legit, for Delaware, big that can run the rim, rebound, block shots, and pick up garbage points. So Penn, I feel like they'll have a really good team as well. St. Andrews coming in at number 8, Darnell Lloyd and Mr. Proctor. I mean, that's going to be a really good team, under Terrell Myers, that should give Sanford a chase for the independent championship, and probably are due for another run to the Elite Eight or the Final Four. St. George's. I talk when I went to the. Oh yes, I must thank Brad Myers for inviting me to the Delaware Online Media Day. Greatly appreciate his generosity with that. So I got to talk to Coach Rod Griffin, and I'm like, where did you find these kids? Because they all talk. Like Josh Obiora, I just kept looking up and up and up. Like, doggone. And apparently he plays guard. So that's St. George's team, with Josh leading the way. I feel like they have a chance to win Flight A. They made it to the quarterfinals last year, gave Dover a bit of a tussle, but they'll need more to take that next step this year. They should be one of the favorites in Flight A. Howard, Flight B champs 4 years running. Don't see any reason why it won't be number 5. I think what helps Howard is that a lot of that young talent that they had from their first couple trips to the Final Four, now they're all experienced. Bryson Lane, Nick Besa, Caden Brown. I mean, these young men have seen the fire. They were behind R.J. Matthews, who, was just recently playing quarterback for Virginia State. Very, very much was excited to see him throw a couple touchdown passes when I went to Lincoln, when I saw the Lincoln game earlier this year. Jamal Johnson was on that team. But yeah, those guys are graduating now. So the keys to the car are now firmly in the hands of Bryson Lane and Nick Besa. And I feel like that's a good thing for Coach Matthews, who likes to get up and down the floor. And those guys can get up and down the floor in a hurry. Number 5, people are going to be like, Chris, why you got him this high? Because I believe in him. I believe Odessa can make a run to the Final Four. Dre Wilburn has an assortment of talent led by Jalen Burnicow. You got Tyshawn Wilborn coming back for a senior year. This is going to be a team that, if there's anybody outside of the 4 ahead of them that can win the championship, I feel like Odessa is one of those teams. Howard too, but I like Odessa a lot. So I have Odessa at number 5. Number 4, Sanford Warriors. Jaden Taylor is leading the way. He committed to University of Delaware. He's going to stay home. We love to see that. The only person that graduated from that Sanford team last year was Jordan Spencer. He was very important, but they still returned Steve Conway. They got Azir Elgood, Nico McNeil. I mean, Kareem Hart, the coach's brother. I mean, this is good. This is a good team. Like, they'll probably win the independent, and depending on how their schedule goes, they could probably be a top 2 or 3 seed. So, Sanford, number 4. Number 3, St. Elizabeth's. Yes, they lost Aiden. Yes, they lost JT. But they still have Kenny Hunter Jr. Still got Steve Nixon Jr. Deshaun Holden. A lot of other kids that I'm, Cool's Price. I mean, there's a lot on that team that still comes back from one who probably should have won the whole thing last year. Coach Cassidy does a great job, getting those guys in positions to be seen and compete at a high level. So I feel like St. Elizabeth is going to be right back in the hunt this year. Number 2, the team that has made 3 consecutive state championship games has won championship to their credit, the Salesianum Sows. Taylor Trevison always has his teams going out of state and playing out of state competition that will prepare them. You got R.J. Johnson, who is going to be playing Division I football next year. When you have a kid that's 6'5", 6'6", 240, and as athletic as he is, that's a nightmare. You got Latrell Wright coming in from Conrad. You got Kevin Coleman coming in from Tower Hill. And, of course, there's still a lot of guys on that team from last year, the Brown brothers. How many Brown brothers is it? How many Brown brothers is it? Because I remember Jack. I remember Paul. I remember Luke. I mean, the Brown family, it's a lot of them, but it's a couple more. So shouts out to them for keeping that Salesianum tradition alive. So I feel like Sal's is going to be in the hunt this year. Dover is number 1. Again, as the legendary Richard Morgan Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Right now, Dover's the man. Yes, Darrell Little is gone. Yes, Denham Perkins is gone. But you still have Javion Dennis, who is one of the better shooters in the state. You got Ice Norwood, one of the few bigs in the state who actually plays big. So that Dover team, and a lot of those younger guys, you still got Chase Little, you still got Cam Jackson Dixon. He'll be taking over the reins at point guard this year. So Dover and Steph Wilson, I mean, they got that monkey off their back, because Dover had the most state tournament appearances of anybody without winning the championship. I think it was like 50, 52, somewhere in that neighborhood before they finally broke through last year. And it was wonderful, man. I mean, I don't, we don't pick favorites in this profession as a journalist. I don't anyway. But to see Dover break through and to see, the emotions in the stands, the emotions of the young men cutting down the nets and hugging each other, crying like, yo, we really did it. We really did. It was beautiful, man. And that's why we do this. That's why we are sports writers. Well, I am anyway. We love to see the underdog story. We love to see, we love to write about things that are off the beaten path, things that happen for the first time, special occurrences. And Dover winning the state championship last year for the first time, it was special. Like, it was one of the more intense environments I've ever been in. I've been doing this journalism thing for going on 23 years now. And that game did not disappoint. Sal's came out punching. Durrell and Denham fought back, and they just took over in the end, and it was enough for them to win their first state championship. So you've seen the top 10s. I'll put them back up on the screen for you really quickly. We have the girls' top 10, Seaford number 10, DMA number 9, Smyrna number 8, Howard number 7, AI DuPont number 6, St. Elizabeth number 5, Padua number 4, Sanford number 3, Caraval number 2, and Ursuline is the top team for us to start the season. Boys' top 10, Seaford number 10, William Penn number 9, St. Andrews number 8, St. George's number 7, Howard at 6, Odessa at 5, number 4 Sanford, number 3 St. Elizabeth, number 2 Sal's, and number 1 Dover. So now that you've seen our top 10, floor is yours. Let us know what you think. Thank y'all for watching this edition of Holton Court. Greatly appreciate your time as always. This is the start. So you will be seeing this again next Sunday when I talk to you guys about the games that I went to. And then I'll probably do some college updates as well, because we got a lot of kids shining on the college level. Before I forget, shouts out to Allie Kubek of Sanford fame and Nia Pulliam from St. Elizabeth. Both of those young ladies reached the 1,000 point mark earlier this month. Allie did it in a game against where she actually started her career at Towson, but she's playing for Maryland now, and she did that against Towson, so that was pretty fitting. And Nia scored her 1,000th point against one of the Penn States. I can't remember if it was Penn State Berks, Penn State Scranton. It's like 7 million Penn States in the state of Pennsylvania. Go figure. But one of them she scored her 1,000 points against, and we are very proud of these young ladies and the young men that are playing college basketball well. Shouts out to Rob Wright III doing his thing down in Baylor. A more in-depth college analysis will come on our website, which you can find in the description below, and as well as this Holding Court podcast. So thank y'all for watching the season premiere. Greatly appreciate your time as always. Looking forward to seeing y'all in the gyms this winter. It's going to be a fun year. Let's enjoy it. So until the next time we speak, y'all take care of yourselves and each other.